Oh, I gotta get the old Mickey Mouse ears on. Hey, Wolverine! First one in today, pal. Okay. I just trying to make sure. I actually was able to get this stream started as per the normal procedure, unlike the earlier one we did. We had the gaming stream that was sponsored by BTG and had all kinds of nightmares trying to get that one going. Jonathan's in, and Chrome, Mike Wells, Brendan, Krusty Bomb's back, RDFR, Willie's in, Mr. Badlands, Critical Edition, Trevor Dowlord. Oh, the gang's all here. Today I want to talk about what everybody's doing for the holidays. Hey, Cooper Towns. I actually have to make a post. Well, I've got it scheduled for today or tomorrow in the Goosh because we're going to be gone for some of Christmas. We're just going. Nobody's traveling far, but just north of us here is Lake Placid, and it's beautiful up there. And so we got plans to spend a couple days with just my daughter, son-in-law, and grandkids. And so we're going to be gone for some of the holidays. I got to make a post about it at the Goosh at our Patreon, though, just to let everybody know I'll be further ahead than usual on videos. Just when we have conversations about what's going on in our anime, the gang likes to know how far ahead I am, so they can judge what's spoilerish and what isn't. There's something for every weird person. That's a good screen name, and true. I have 2 Thanksgiving dinners back to back. Oh, nice. With my 2 aunts because they hate each other. Oh, well, that sucks. And now we don't have holidays together. But there's a lot of that goes on, unfortunately, pal. I know personally families where that's the case, where, they're having to have split holidays and stuff because family members just can't get along. And but having 2 Thanksgiving dinners back to back, I don't want your aunts to hate each other, but if they're going to anyway, that is certainly a perk. It's certainly a little bit of a payoff. You're on furlough, Chrome? Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh,
Gotta be,
yeah.
I'm assuming, virus related because of the shutdown where you guys are. Oh, shit. Big Green says our original plans have been dashed by the Rona, so I'm just staying home. We're fortunate that thanks, Jonathan. Same to you, pal. He says, happy Thanksgiving, bro. Same to you. We're very fortunate that what we had planned for the holiday was just us, or otherwise that would have been dashed too, because we're going to stay a couple days at a house we have rented in Lake Placid, and they can't even rent to big groups now, but the only ones that are going are just our immediate family anyway. So otherwise, yeah, we would have been with you, pal. If we'd have had anything large planned as far as people, it would have been dashed. And Thanksgiving, I love my family. They're welcome to come over for Thanksgiving anytime they want, but they have their own things that they do, my own kids and stuff, other than, Brax. So Thanksgiving this year is just going to be me, my wife, and Brax. I mean, the grandkids might come over later and have a little dessert with us or something like that, but the Thanksgiving meal, and I enjoy that. It's fun to just be together in our little group today. BTG says, Happy Native American Turkey Eradication Day. Hey, BTG, I beat that demon beast in Horizon Zero Dawn. I didn't think I was gonna win that one. It wasn't pretty. It was a completely ugly victory.
Yeah.
Now I'm anxious to see. Tomorrow we'll do the other game. The name's going out of my head, and then that's my plan anyway. And then Wednesday we'll do that new one that you set up for us. Diagia, or it's Diagia. Sounds like when you got acid reflux or something. Oh, that's not bad, Nate. He says, howdy, Curtis, just got notified. We've only been streaming for like 4 minutes. So that's actually, by Susan's standards, that's pretty freaking good. Now, if anybody sees Milag in here, he was in the comment section of a video earlier. If he makes his way to the stream, point him out to me, because Milag's from Finland, right? I have some questions about Finland. I saw something that's just one of the coolest things I ever saw. And of course, anybody else that lives in Nordic countries. Sheeps, I haven't seen. Sheeps is up there as well, but I haven't seen Sheeps in a stream in a while. He's in the comments here and there, but I haven't seen him in a stream. So anybody, if you're up in that section, let me know in the chat here. Professor Periwinkle says, I got exclusive Hungry Man TV dinner seat for Thanksgiving. Yum. Actually, I don't mind Hungry Man dinners. I like a lot of that stuff like that. Of course, I remember Professor Periwinkle's. I go way back to when they were the actual TV dinners, where they had foil on them and you had to put them in the oven because you didn't have microwaves back then, and pretty much everybody would then just sit them on a coffee table and sit there and watch the TV while you ate them. Hey, Garrigo, did I say that even close right? Good to see you. Hey, Winston, good to have you around. Brian says, I was a Nord in Elder Scrolls. Does that count? Absolutely. All right, now I'm confident you can answer all my questions about the Nordic regions now. Finland saga. Oh, you guys are funny. I only play Orc, Winston says. Oh, Norwegian here. Okay, Santana. What were I just discovered this online. Hold on, let me read Chrome's post first, and then I'll get right back to you, Santana. That's funny it's interesting though that your name is Santana and you're from Norway. It just when I read Santana, of course, I'm thinking Carlos. So Chrome says Christmas Day plans haven't changed. Thankfully, we'll be staying home, opening presents, and enjoying a good feast. Though I did find out my butcher has a Christmas menu, so may get some of that stuff. Ooh, nice, Chrome. I hope everything works out okay for you with being on furlough and all. Now, what I was going to say is, I just stumbled across it online, and I saw these igloos, these glass igloos that they have in, it's near Ivalo in Finland, and I was just fascinated. I've told you guys before, my wife and I have wanted to stay in the Northern Lights forever. Yeah. But these things are some of the coolest shit I've ever seen. There's just something about it that blows me away. And I really want to be able to go. It's going to be a substantial amount of time. Iliad. It's going to be a substantial amount of time before I could do it. I'll explain to you guys why as the stream goes. But I just wanted to get, how is Helsinki? Now, if we have to fly into we'll have to fly into Helsinki before we move on. Should I try and make an extra day to stay in Helsinki? Is it that it seems like a fascinating city. Is it something I should spend a couple days on before we go up to Ivalo? That's the first question. Henry says, "Hey Curtis, what's your favorite Thanksgiving food?" The turkey. I'm a turkey fanatic, Henry. I love freaking turkey. I know that's the obvious selection and everything, but yeah, as much as all the food is great, my wife's mashed potatoes are fantastic, and you guys know that my tastes are limited anyway. But I'm a turkey freak. I love it. Iliad says, just want to say, hey, and hope you're staying healthy. Well, thanks, my friend. Same to you. Cheyenne says Finland doesn't exist. Wait, Cheyenne, before we can verify that, I have to check in with the flat earthers. Because they know everything. Ham is better. When we have ham for a holiday, Winston, there's a honey-baked ham store down near Albany, not too far from where we are. It's expensive, but it's one of those things that it's worth it. That's so rarely does my wife make a ham just because we love those so much. It's not something we can do regularly because, again, it's really expensive. But, yeah, when we have ham for holidays, we get it down there. If you guys have a honey-baked ham around you anywhere, I couldn't recommend it higher. Santana says, go for it. Not for everyone, but it's a good time. Yeah, Santana, it just seems like I was just fascinated by the look of it all. And again, we wanted to see the Northern Lights at some point anyway, but they have these ones that it's a cabin. It's a gorgeous looking cabin, but then one end of the cabin opens up into like a glass igloo, and there are beds out there so you can just go to bed at night watching the Northern Lights. It's like, I got nerded out big time. Big time. And Johnny says, Turkey, not the country. Fuck that. It's funny too, Johnny, when we take this trip, I was, because I've been nerded out for it, even though it's probably going to be a couple of years at least before I can do it. I've been nerded out, checking up things on it. It looks like we would be probably flying into Turkey as our layover to get to Helsinki. That seems to be the most common layover point, or the best layover point is Istanbul. Henry says, do you like planes, trains, and automobiles? Yeah. That's a great Thanksgiving movie. I haven't seen that in years, Henry. Yeah, that was fun. It's not like one that's on one of my all-time favorites list, but if it's on, I'll definitely watch it. Yes, that was funny. Good old John Candy. Yeah, I watched that again.
Yeah.
Cheyenne's a little bit of edge to Thanksgiving here. Best Thanksgiving food is the bones of the pilgrims who massacred my native ancestors. Just got a little dark in here. I don't get why no one charted the back of the map. I'm not sure what you mean, BTG. No one charted the back of the map. I'm not sure in the game, or I'm not sure what you meant, pal. I'm the fact that I might be a little slow is not shocking to anybody. Thanksgiving turkey sandwich, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Finland Sharpstone. But I'm pretty sure. See, this is actually stunningly amazing to me, and it gives you an idea of how important our community here is and how important you guys are to me, that I can remember individual things about so many of you. But I'm pretty sure, I know Milag is from the Nordic region. I'm almost sure it's Finland. And I don't remember if Sheeps is from Finland. I know he's from the Nordic region. I think he was Finland as well. Brian says, make sure you punch Spaz Kid so much in the Army Kid with this for Spaz Kid. Hey, Brian, the stream boss. Well, he'll be here starting Wednesday. And then we get him for at least a couple months. Chrome says, I'll be getting 80% of my wages. Well, that's good. That's a better system than we have here. Whether that's based on my contracted hours or average hours, we'll find out. But yeah, my area is on lockdown till the 11th. We get fined if we leave our council area. Yeah, that again, Chrome. I know what you're dealing with. Oh man, that's a little scary to me. See, I take everything into account, and I'm a nerd for this stuff. You know, you guys know I love politics, and whatever's going on of the day, the news of the day, or pop culture, whatever. I'm into all that stuff. So I consider myself as well versed as possible on the virus. And to take such draconian measures when if you look at things statistically, they're not going to make that big of a difference. And B, what we're actually, I mean, outside of people who are in high risk, who should be just laying low, staying away from everybody else as much as absolutely possible, I think there's a lot of overreaction to the point of, again, potentially damaging economies to where you've done more long-lasting damage than even the virus would have. Look at an atlas. They only filled in one side. Oh, I see. Yeah, what the hell's up with that? Well, you think you could at least have a mirror image on the other side. I like the game Winston. I just don't have I doesn't have. What the fuck? What language is that? I don't have the time that I would like to devote to games. I love gaming. That's why I appreciate things like BTG sponsors a couple of games that we play over at the Goosh at our Patreon. What's the other game I got coming right up, guys? Dark Souls. Coltonius Maximus is sponsoring Dark Souls, and that'll be coming up this week too. Dark Souls was fun. We only played the one round of that so far. That was fun. That was some creepy shit right there. And you guys, actually in the comments section over at the Goosh, you guys got me more scared of that game just from the things you're saying. I'm like, the fuck did I get into here? Timothy says, visiting my mom and little sister in St. Augustine for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'll be making my favorite dish both days, scalloped corn. I've never heard of that, Timothy. Scalloped corn. You guys know me. I'm not a foodie at all, because it actually frustrates me even how limited my tastes are. Oh yeah. But I've never heard of that scalloped corn. I never heard of that. Ty says, off topic, what do you think of Taker's Farewell? It's funny you mentioned that, Ty. I just got done watching it. I didn't see the pay-per-view last night, so right before the stream, as I was getting stuff set up, I had a video uploading and stuff. I watched it on my phone. It was awesome. That was a perfect way to go out. Very simple. I mean, he didn't go into, a long, tearful speech. That was the perfect way for the character to go out. I'm a huge fan. And I still think The Undertaker is the greatest character in the history of wrestling to me, and I loved it. I don't know how you guys feel, but I loved it. Hey, Henry Streamboss now. And he says, this is a completely off-topic random question. Those are always welcome. But did you know that O.J. Simpson has a Twitter and a TikTok? Because he does. I knew he had a Twitter. I didn't know he had a TikTok. I know he tweets. That guy is so out of touch with reality, though. You know what? He really is. I mean, I think he believes that a lot of people think that he's gotten raw deals in life. Like, we don't believe that he cut the heads off a couple of people because he's a lunatic psycho, and that he didn't deserve to go to jail for, barging in on somebody to steal his memorabilia back. He's fucked up. He fits. Well, you guys know how I feel about USC. So as far as I'm concerned, he fits the USC mold perfectly. Curtis, you happy for return of ERB? I'm ecstatic. Oh, Winston, but absolutely. ERB, I mean, those rap battles are some of the funniest, most original, hilarious things I've ever seen. And just so well done. I mean, just the, we've talked about this before. I mean, you could legitimately have that as part of history course curriculum in a high school. They're so good at incorporating all the elements of these historical characters into these rap battles. It's fantastic. Nate says, loved Undertaker's one of my favorite characters. Yeah, I thought that was just so well done. Chrome says, I don't understand any of these restrictions. They're not based on effectiveness or science. They are not. You are correct. It's based on the SNP wanting control. Every week, Sturgeon goes on TV to finger wag about how bad we are. And the thing is, Chrome, and again, I almost hesitate to say these things because we have so many people, I don't think in here, but so many people we have so many extremists that say idiotic, moronic shit like, oh, the virus is just made up, and, things along those lines. You almost hesitate to say anything against doing the right thing. But here are the facts. The spike we're hitting now is bigger worldwide than the original spike. The one thing we know for sure is way more people are social distancing and wearing masks than were at that point. Because back in the early days of the original spread, they were telling you don't wear masks. They didn't even we didn't have an understanding of any of it. And certainly nobody was talking about social distancing or anything. So no matter what else, we're doing that at a much, much higher rate, and it's not containing the virus at all. Continuing to clamp down is going to have very little effect. But that's not a surprise, because if you've been reading up on this, as was I right from the beginning, the virologists, the epidemiologists were telling us that these viruses can be just insanely easily transmissible, and that they will typically run their course no matter what we do. And we're finding out that they were right. So you have to start weighing all this. You have to start deciding, okay, at what point are we putting such harsh restrictions in place that we're hurting people more than the virus would? Because these harsh restrictions are obviously not having a major effect. It's still going to propagate. And that's following the science and the statistics. Scotland has much harsher measures and a £6 fine. Yeah, BTG. Again, I don't. Yeah. I think the politicians. I hope the politicians would be scared to actually institute a fine over here. You got too many tensions right on edge here. Just the amount of heat that, deservedly so, Cuomo has taken for his 10-person limit in your home for Thanksgiving, for the holidays. And he did such a horrible job of approaching the topic. First of all, there's no way you'll make me believe that isn't an affront to the Constitution. I don't think he can enforce that if he wanted to. So given that, to have made a real effort to get the word out and advise people on the best ways to stay safe in having your family gatherings, which is obviously to know everybody's history. If you're going to have people over, the fewer people the better, obviously, but if you're going to have a family gathering, know the people who are coming and how they've approached this virus. If you know that these family members have done everything they can, they're social distancing, they wear their masks, they just do everything they can to try and prevent themselves from getting it. By all means, invite them to your home. If you don't know what somebody's been doing, or you do know that somebody in your family has been thumbing their nose at the virus and saying it doesn't exist or this, that, or the other, don't invite them. Just leave them out this year. That's how you should have approached it, because you can't force people to keep their gatherings under 10. There's going to be a lot of people that are having bigger gatherings than they would have anyway, because he's pissed them off by trying to tell them what they can do in their own home. If you would have just made it clear that these are the suggestions and put it out there in every form of social media you can, asking people to retweet it, to resend it, you'd have been much better off. But that's not how kings go about their business, and that's what our governor would like to be. Not going to lie, the pallbearer got me. Yeah, Ty, that was well done. Everything about that goodbye was really handled well. Yeah, I agree. Sharpstone, I agree with you. Cuomo was the worst governor. I'm sorry you live in New York. Yeah, he's terrible. Beyond that, and I say this sincerely, I just don't think he's particularly bright. He just doesn't strike me that way. He really doesn't. When it comes to thinking on his feet and some of the things he says and does off the cuff, I don't think he's a particularly bright guy. I mean, he was born into the job, basically, because of his daddy. Jonathan says, I made a poem for a school project, and it made it into a book and actually published. I didn't know what plagiarism was at the time. No, wait a second. Okay, I misunderstood. I made a poem for a school project. Wait a second. So somebody took... The way I was reading that, Jonathan, I thought you meant you wrote a poem for a school project and somebody picked it up, like paid you for it. But somebody actually just took it? Oh, that sucks. I read that wrong. I'm assuming that's what you meant?
Yeah.
Because when you said you didn't know what plagiarism was at the time. Well, that's... I mean... Oh, that... Now, plagiarism's been around, unfortunately, forever. People just feel like they can take whatever they want as far as other people's writings. Hey, Morgan. She says, hey, Uncle Curtis. LL, still deciding whether or not I'm going to Thanksgiving this year. Yeah, and see, and just what Morgan's saying, she's still deciding. This is why I'm saying, if you just give people suggestions, if you give people, not suggestions, but give people all the information they need to make their decisions, I see you come out way, way farther ahead than you do by telling people, okay, this is the number. 10 people, not 11.
Yeah.
If you do, we're going to come kick your door in and take your turkey. Shut the fuck up. It's not a numbers game, moron. As I said in the earlier stream, if you're having 3 people over, but those 3 people are pretending that the virus doesn't exist, and they're just going about their day-to-day routine willy-nilly with no concern for it, you're in a much graver situation than you are than if you have 100 people in your home who have all been doing the right things. So it's not a numbers game. It's a people thing. Drive me nuts. Cheyenne says, it would be like my parents. Hate other people and don't invite anyone over, especially family. COVID has not changed anything for us for Thanksgiving. Oh, that's too bad, Cheyenne. We were just talking about that earlier. How it is unfortunate so many families have that kind of breakdown. That's too bad. Like I say, our Thanksgiving is just small with the 3 of us, but we're fortunate. It's not because of any type of divide. It's just because outside of Braxton, all our kids are grown and they have their own things that they do and, their own traditions, and everybody's cool with it. Says, what are your thoughts on your journey through One Piece so far? Would you be interested in doing a video of your thoughts on the arcs you have been through? Oh, One Piece is fantastic. They're just stunning storytelling. I've said it over and over. Not particularly interested in doing a video of thoughts on the arcs, only because to me that's always like a rehash. I mean, when I do reaction videos, I'm giving all my thoughts in real time, which is the beauty of reaction videos, is you can do that. It's in the moment. Your thoughts in the moment are always going to be the most pure, I believe. A rage you have felt in review might not feel as strong. A kick to the feels that you're experiencing might not be as strong when you do a review. So I think the best review you can do is in the real time. So I wouldn't really have an interest in making a video just basically rehashing everything that I'd already said about it. but it's phenomenal. I think the writing on One Piece is just absolutely ridiculous. So good. Such great characters. Anbu AMV says, Yo, Pimp Dad, thanks for letting me react to your channel. Always, guys. Any of you guys are welcome to that. As Anbu says, and anybody who does reaction videos, if you want to react to anything I have on the channel, you're always welcome. That goes without saying. Anytime. Chrome says, man, I don't think you should have to hold back idiots on both sides. Whoop, the government told people to go out and put a half-price food scheme on food in restaurants while whining about COVID numbers. Yeah. See, everything, I think this is a lot of governments worldwide, but I mean, I only know ours intimately, but everything in government, it just seems like it's never genuine. It's always a product of what the repercussions may be, of what the polling data suggests. You know, so like now what we're going through with New York is you had a governor who sent a lot of old people to their deaths by sending COVID patients into senior care facilities. Yeah. And he's gone over the top to make up for it by, I'm going to show you that I take it serious because I'm going to lay down the law about this. I'm going to follow the science, but you're not following the science. You're just taking the worst case scenario in every instance you can to try and justify the measures that you take. Telling people it's a numbers game about how many people you can have in your house is just asinine. It doesn't follow science. It doesn't follow the numbers at all, because there are no numbers. It's all about the individuals. That's the bottom line. What are the chances that the people coming to your house could be carrying COVID? And those chances are directly related to how they're living their lives within the pandemic. It's not about just straight broad numbers. To say that 9 is safe and 11 is dangerous is moronic. Thomas says, I'm really glad that I live in Florida. My governor is letting us decide regardless of how much heat he takes. See, that's my opinion. I believe you make the public aware on every level. Let them know every small, fine, minute detail about this virus and what we know of it, and then give them advice on how best to approach like their holiday gatherings and stuff like that, and then let them go from there. Jonathan says the book is called Anthology of Poetry by Young Americans, 2005 edition. But they just took your poem, Jonathan? That sucks. I mean, it wasn't submitted to them like on your behalf through a school or something. I've seen that stuff happen before. But yeah, if they just took it, that's kind of bullshit. Basically, Krusty Bomb says, and I'm not going to go into Middle East politics, but goddamn it, our PM is probably the biggest corrupt asshole I know, barring the geriatric in America. It's frightening, and the interactions I get to have with you guys and all of us being, a community, and I have so many friends here. It's really eye-opening to see, because the news that we get internationally over here sucks. It's really eye-opening to see, and sometimes scary, how many parallels there are in countries around the world to the same type of things we go through as far as the stupidity in government. Jesus Christ. It's depressing, actually. I was hoping maybe other places were doing it better with more competent folks, but yeah, maybe not. J Money says, the biggest problem is those states that are genuinely having problems. I know where I live, I can't even get a simple test done because there are so many people in the hospital and not enough staff. Absolutely. And that's what I mean, J Money. I'm not trying to poo-poo that away. It's a serious issue. However, a tighter lockdown at this point, I don't believe helps you. And I'll tell you why. Because the people who are going to ignore the concept of doing the right things are going to ignore it anyway. So now all you're doing is hurting businesses, hurting families, hurting individuals, when all you have to do is say, you can keep things open with the social distancing, with the masks, with doing things the right way. And there's not going to be, to me, a significant difference between that and just slamming the door shut on everything. I just don't believe there is. You'll probably end up spreading the virus more with the people that are going to be out in the streets protesting that than you would have if you'd have left everything
Oh,
at least partially open.
yeah.
That's my take on it anyway. Jonathan says, no, I quoted SpongeBob. Oh, you quoted SpongeBob and they published it. Listen,
Oh,
I'm all for it.
yeah.
Any quotation of SpongeBob has got to be quality. There are certain things that are always apropos. SpongeBob quotes, Monty Python, the Holy Grail quotes. Those always work. Morgan says, what's your favorite Thanksgiving dish? Unpopular opinion, but I love green bean casserole. Ooh, I couldn't do that. More popular opinion, good old mashed taters. Yes, I'm with you on the mashed potatoes. But again, I'm a bad one to say, Morgan, because my tastes are so limited. But it's the turkey. It's the main course. It's the feature. I love that bird. Oh, I can just eat turkey, and I do around the holidays endlessly. Absolutely love it. Love turkey. Yes, and mashed potatoes. Oh, mashed potatoes, a little gravy. But yeah, and like some biscuits. My wife always makes biscuits. But it's kind of terrifying if I tell you guys how limited my tastes are, how many things there are that I won't eat. And it's for no other reason than, again, it's just genuine taste bud issues. It's not because I have some sort of desire to stay away from certain things. It's amazing how few things there are that I like. Oh, Cephas, Nordic. Okay, Cephas, where are you from, my friend? Oh, and Eclipse. I'm Scandinavian with Finnish. Why I was asking is, it's going to be some time before I can do it. But I saw these glass igloo things that they have in Ivalo, Finland, and that has just jumped to the top of my gotta do it somehow, some way list. And one of the first questions I had was, I've been trying. Even though I won't get to do it for a while, I've been trying to put the trip together and see how everything works. How is Helsinki? Is that something? Because I'll be in Helsinki. We would fly into Helsinki, spend the night there, then fly the next day into Ivalo. Is Helsinki a place that I should probably try if we can get that much time put into our trip to stay for a couple days? Is there, that much to do there that I would hate to get there, just for the overnight and say, oh man, because it's a once in a lifetime. I should have added just one more day in Helsinki because there were so many things that we didn't get to see and do and stuff. So what do you guys think about that? I mean, is it something that you can look at and say, wow, it was a great time seeing Helsinki, or is there so many things that you really need to experience that you need to put an extra day or two in there? And that's basically what I was wondering from you Nordic folks. And if it ever gets close to where I can go, I'm sure I'll have tons of questions for you. Chrome says, I love sage and Union stuffing, and I don't even know what that is. Chipolatas? Chipolatas during Christmas. They're some of my favorite Christmas foods. I don't know what that is, Chrome. Chipolatas? Chipolatas. I don't think I've ever heard of that. Head Gang says, I am Mexican, but I got that 2% Scandinavian. Nice. Uncle Rico says, if you give an older immunocompromised family member COVID and they die because you wanted to be a right-wing bitch and not wear a mask, you should be burned alive. Well, I think you're making too many generalities there. But basically what we've said is the people that are not going to do the right things are not going to do the right things no matter what. And when creating your holiday guest list, you should certainly have that in mind and make sure that they are left out of the equation. I will say this, if you are immunocompromised or in any way, shape, or form at the great risk for dying from COVID, you should by all means be just away from everything. You should be stocked up on your Lysol, staying locked out, because again, there seems to be a light at the end of the tunnel with all of these vaccines performing so well. So it should be just like, keep grandma locked away, keep grandpa locked away. Whoever's sick, we do it with our daughter, with her disabilities. We know exactly who's around her, where they've been, what they've done, because we're keeping her safe. So that's the number one thing. If you are in that high risk category, it's time to just completely lay low. If you have to miss some holiday gatherings. It sucks, but it's better than the alternative. Adam says, are you going to make mashed potatoes and stuffing with turkey and ham for Thanksgiving? I won't make anything because I don't even want to eat anything I would make. I am one of the worst cooks you will ever encounter in your lives. My wife, yeah, we'll be making, we're not doing ham, but we'll be doing turkey, and she'll have stuffing, obviously, and mashed potatoes, absolutely. I didn't even see what was talking about. Jack Queen says, hee hee, small sausage. Let's see. Chrome says chipolatas are a small sausage. Oh, okay, that's why he laughed. We have them wrapped in bacon. Also misspelled. I meant sage and onion stuffing. Oh, okay. Wow, small I do like. That's one of the few things I do like is sausages. And yes, mine is small. But I do like sausages too. Drink your bleach, folks. Johnny says we learned from Donnie Jr. that doing coke doesn't work, so forget that. Winston said, I normally suck at cooking, but I can make a mean baked potato. The only thing I can make that's high quality, I think I've told you guys before, is grilled cheese sandwiches, because Spaz Kid loved them from the time he was a kid. And, you know, my wife would be out doing things. She was working at the time before she had retired. And so a lot of times I'd be making him lunch. It's like, I'm not going to make the kid not be able to have his grilled cheese just because I'm a complete dunce when it comes to the kitchen. So I experimented with a lot of different ways to do it. It's not complicated. It's fucking, you wouldn't think it's complicated. It's grilled cheese. But I've gotten to where I can make a primo grilled cheese sandwich, you know, where it's just got that perfect brown on both sides. The cheese just melted just right. And obviously I wouldn't eat them. Ugh, American cheese.
Oh, yeah.
But I can make those now. Just for my kid. Hey, Garrett, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. I haven't seen you in a while, Garrett. Good to have you back, pal. Wolverine says, Bill Cosby is eating Jell-O pudding pops. Yes, he is. And hopefully somebody's drugging him before he eats them, too, just for karma's sake. Oh, and Thomas is Stream Boss now. Yes, Cephas says, I'm from Sweden, and I do think staying in Finland one more day because it's beautiful. Okay, would you, let me ask you guys this too, you folks from the Nordic countries. If we can get an extra day in there, what we're thinking is when we get to do it, we'd be in Sweden. We would be in Helsinki for the day, then that morning fly up to Ivalo. If we could, and stay 2 days in Ivalo. If we were going to add an extra day, would you add it in Helsinki to see more of the city, or would you add it in Ivalo to do more of the stuff up there? You know, they have the reindeer pulled carriages, and to also have a better chance to make sure you get at least one night where there's a cloud cover where you can see the northern lights and stuff. So which would you say would be, if I could do one more day, would you say no, you know, see some more of Helsinki, or give yourself better odds of getting everything done once you're in Ivalo?
Yeah.
Let me put that question to you. That's probably puts it better. Let's see. Garrett says, I'm helping my dad make all the Thanksgiving dishes, and any extras going to the local shelter. That's cool. And we're making a meal. Also been busy with my 2 jobs. Oh, no, completely understandable, Garrett. I understand that, putting the grind in, my friend. I did that for a long time. I completely understand, but it's good to see you again, pal. And that's very cool to give make sure the extras go to a shelter. Northern Lights and Rangers. Ninelli, I want to do it so bad after I saw those igloos and stuff. God damn. So you're familiar, Ninelli, with Ivalo? Chrome says, oh, Milag's here. Milag, I've been looking for you. Speaking of holidays, I'm kind of curious now. Do Americans know what Hogmanay is in Scotland? I don't have any clue, Chrome. Hogmanay? I wouldn't even know where to begin to guess. Hogmanay. Is it a dish? Is it a condiment? I don't even have a good guess, Chrome. Mila says, "Ball man, do you know what a snack witcher is? You can make grilled cheeses anywhere with one of those, and all you gotta do is turn it on and off." No, I never heard of that. Really, Milag? You mean I went to all that trouble to learn how to make them perfect, and there's something that would have done it for me? Well, that sucks. Hey, Milag, Did I remember correctly? First question. I was looking for you. You live in Finland, am I correct? Did I remember the country right? Because then I have a question for you. I don't know if you heard it, if you were in here when I was asking the question. Really? Jack says they do relatively cheap cruises that take you all around the Nordic regions, and if you don't see the Northern Lights, you get a full refund. That's kind of cool. I didn't know that. The only thing I really want to get to Ivalo for, though, Jack, is we always wanted to see the Northern Lights, but what really got me inspired was these specific cabins with those glass igloos that they have there. I am just swept away by the romanticism of that. Lick says, "Oh no, run, Curtis." Oh, is it something that from White Gaming 22 maybe, who got their messages deleted? Oh, okay. I'm assuming that. Oh no. Oh, was spamming. Okay. Yeah. Winston says y'all ever just put Doritos between two pieces of bread? Fast kid would do that, I think. A Dorito sandwich. BG hit somebody. I'll see who it is. No problem, BG. If you got, Ninelli, you just repost your message. I'm sure that's who Big Green's talking about. It was just sometimes as the mods will try and delete a post or hide a post or something, it scrolls up on you as you do it, and you get the wrong person. So I'm assuming that's who Big Green means. I don't think he was trying to get you, Ninelli. So just go ahead and post whatever you said again. Hold on, let me see if Milog answered. I just hope I'm remembering right. Yeah, I have been looking for you, Milog. That was my question. Do I remember right? Are you from Finland? And then I'll ask you the question I was asking everybody. Oh, Oink says, I live in Helsinki. We have some nice cathedrals, but the Udi library is fairly nice. I don't see what stuff you would be interested in seeing, though. My wife would enjoy the cathedrals, I'm sure. Oink. Oh, I didn't know you lived in Helsinki. Perfect. Then I'll ask, a snack butcher is very handy. It grills and seals the sandwiches for you nice and no mess. I never heard of that, Milog. Never heard of that. Huh. Like I say, after I put all that effort into learning to make something. Jonathan said, yesterday was my birthday. I had to work with his wife. Well, happy birthday, pal. Happy birthday. I without even knowing how old you are, I can pretty much guarantee you've had many less of them than have I, and that's a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Milog goes to South Africa. Doggone it. So what the hell? Usually I'm good at remembering that stuff. So now I had to have crossed Milog's name with somebody else's then. Who was it that lived in Finland? Now I got to try and think, and that always hurts me. No, I said somebody else. Now I got. Shoot. Now who was it here that just? I'm just scrolling back through. Thanks for being in, Nate. Who was it just told me they lived in Helsinki? And it's gone. Okay, Cephas says, okay, then Ivalo gets my vote. Sounds similar to Lapland and its ice hotel. It seems to be, I looked that up too, Cephas. Yeah, it is kind of similar to that. Yes. The only reason I know is I looked that up too when I got looking around at stuff. Now, who? Shit, I can't find who just said that to me. Somebody just said that was it Oink. Oh, it was Oink. That's right. He said he lived in Helsinki. So Oink, what would you say then? I apologize, pal. I should have remembered that. Given that question, Oink, if I was going to add a day to my trip, and again, this is going to be sometime in the future before I can do it. I'll explain to you guys why. If I was going to add a day to my trip, would you say add the day in Helsinki and see more of the sites there, or add the day in Ivalo and increase your odds of getting a good view of the Northern Lights? Because we were thinking of 2 nights in Ivalo. Would it be better to take that to 3 or take the extra day in Helsinki? That's that. I guess that's right now that's the biggest question I would have. Big Greens. Oh, okay. Do y'all ever get shorts stuck in your butt crack and you have to do that weird stance with your knees bent outwards like a bow and arrow? Yes. Yes, unfortunately. Oh, wait, here it is. Chrome says Hogmanay is literally just another word for New Year's here in Scotland. They think the word is either originally Scandinavian meaning Yule or Old Scottish for Holy Month. Oh, all right. I was immediately thinking food, Chrome. Well, I'm a fat guy. That's what we do. Yeah, I'll be interested to see what Oink thinks. And again, anybody who's either lived there or has lived there or knows the Nordic regions, what you would think would be better of that to spend the extra day in Helsinki or Ivalo. And I'll tell you why it'll be ages, because I told my wife, I said, now for us to do this, it's got to be a year we're not doing Disney. We can't afford everything. So we had promised 2021, if everything straightens up, that we would take the family. So that's taken. So I said, well, we'll look for 2022. 2021 would be difficult anyway because the whole world's still going to be trying to get back on track from COVID. I think 2022 would be better anyway. And then my wife reminded me, she said, but her and our daughter, my stepdaughter, we wanted to go to Italy. You said we could go on a trip to Italy at some point. So I just got completely chumped out there because it's like I can't afford 2 of those trips in a year. So now we're looking at 2023 for me to get to do what I was hoping to do, potentially, unless there's another Disney trip and then I get punched out again. All these Disney trips we've had, and I still haven't been to Notre Dame for a football game, which is much closer. So it tells you where I rank in the get to do stuff list. So that's why it's going to be a while, but I'm still just excited for it. That was just one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Those not only, and I'm not even a winter sports person by any means, even though I live in the Northeast, but just the things that you get to do up there and the videos we saw in that Ivalo were just amazing. Okay, Cyberpunk is coming out 2 weeks, people. Oh, hopefully. Adam says, what are we doing for Christmas? We're going to be just our close family, my wife Braxton and I, and our daughter, son-in-law, and grandkids are going to be spending a couple days in Lake Placid for the actual holiday. As a matter of fact, again, those of you who are Gooshers will see I'll be posting at the Gooshers, our Patreon, very soon, just giving you guys a heads up, as I always do, that I'm going to be getting ahead some on videos, because I get them all. Anytime I'm going to be away, I get videos done ahead of time, so the schedule stays the same over there and they get posted every day. But I let everybody know because we like to have conversations in the chat and everybody likes to know how far ahead I am. I'm a huge Notre Dame fan, Sharpstone. Big game Friday night. It's unusual for Notre Dame to have a Friday night game. But that North Carolina game, that can be dangerous just because of North Carolina's offense. North Carolina don't play much defense, but but when you got an offense that explosive, our defense better come like ready to play, ready to kick some ass, because that could be a problem. Milag says, you want to experience Italy? Just buy a blindfold and eat a meatball pizza. Why did I stop early in the morning joke? Oh, Cody, that was years ago we did that. Gosh, that was ages ago. What it takes to become a moderator in these lanes? Atlas said, well, first of all, we need to have a need for more. Right now we have, it's not like it was in the days when I was doing Naruto, where we were getting bombed with people in the streams and everybody was trying to spoil. Our moderators do a fantastic job right now, but when we need more, it's usually during a stream. We take an informal vote and just say, okay, we need a mod. All of you guys who are here regularly in streams with us, who do you think could do a good job? And typically they always come up with somebody. They always come up with somebody who has done a fantastic job. Mike says, I haven't been to Ivalo, so I don't know if it's a better choice than Helsinki. So I'm going to recommend Helsinki because I live here. If you're interested, I can show you around when you come here. Well, like I say, like it'll be a little bit, but I will definitely be contacting with you guys here in the streams and everything, because again, it looks like 2023 is going to be my earliest. I'm just excited about it. So you would think Helsinki? See, the only reason I was thinking maybe Ivalo is, again, just the numbers game. to give us more nights to try and make sure that we get to see the northern lights, because obviously if it's, you got a lot, if you get a couple overcast nights or something, you're just kind of out of luck. Oh, Jonah says, I'm Nordic. Same question, Jonah. That's what I was just asking everybody is, if we want to go to Ivalo to stay in the glass igloos and see the northern lights, but we're going to be spending a night in Helsinki first. If we could add an extra day, should we spend that extra day in Helsinki and see more of the sights there, or spend that extra day in Ivalo where we'd increase our chances of getting to see the northern lights? Lix's next one, that would probably be the case, Jack. I think there would be little doubt that Lix would get voted right in. Spaz says, I'm in favor of lockdown just because of how bad the situation is getting in hospitals now. It's getting worse day by day, but I can see the other side too. And I'm all for, easing the pressure on the hospitals, Spaz. I'm just not sure that a more intense lockdown is going to do it. That's all. Just by what we've seen so far in the numbers, as I said, the most glaring statistic is back in March when we were actually being told not to wear masks and nobody knew anything about social distancing or anything, and things were still going on in great numbers. We didn't hit as big a peak of cases as we're hitting right now, when we've had months of a very, very significant portion of the population out there with masks on and social distancing and doing all the right things. This virus just doesn't give a shit. It's amazing how easily, how highly contagious it is. And what I'm saying is, I don't think turning the screws more is really going to have a significant effect on it, because the people who are doing the wrong things are going to continue the wrong things, regardless of what policies you put in place. That's just why I don't, again, that's why I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. I think the main thing right now is to get everybody to try and get everybody to keep doing the right things. And as I said, keeping those who are in that high risk category, just say, listen, you got a few months here where you just really need to stay away. It sucks, but you want to stay alive. You need to stay away. You can't count. We've already seen this. You can't count on everybody else doing the right things. So regardless of what restrictions we put in, you can't count on everybody doing the right things. So just hide, stay away. Oink says you can go to Avalo first and see if you see the lights and decide what you're going to do depending on if you see them. I'd like to, Oink, but we have to have all the flight prep and everything done, long before we get there. Otherwise, I would like to. Oh, really? Jonathan says my middle name is Thor. It's a family name. That's really cool, actually. Top Dog Killer says that's because people don't wear masks. Well, it's not only because people don't wear masks. As I just explained, Killer, we're hitting a bigger spike now than we did before people even knew to wear masks or were being told to wear masks. So obviously, and this isn't a surprise. Hey, Garrett was Stream Boss. I didn't even notice that. This is obviously a case where the epidemiologists were right, and this virus is so easily transmissible that it's going to do its own thing until you eradicate it. And the only way you're going to eradicate it is hopefully with these vaccines we have coming up, you'll get enough people who are vaccinated against the disease that it eventually dies out. Now, what I've read, they said that these COVID viruses, typically when you get the spread to stop, when you get it to zero spread, they don't usually come back. I think they said there was only one of them that resurfaced. Excuse me, it's like SARS was a COVID. And you don't hear about SARS anymore. So we just got to get it to zero. That's what I've read anyway. Again, I'm not an epidemiologist. I just regurgitate what I read from much, much smarter people. Okay, bye, Poppy. Thanks for being in. Let's see. Jack Queen says, how about we throw the high-risk people out in the streets, film it, become rich, and purge the weakness from our society at the same time? Yikes, Jack. That's only a little dark. Winston says, seeing igloos encourage Curtis to get it sponsored by NordVPN. Lick says, how about we strap down every anti-vaxxer and forcibly inject them with every vaccine they've ever refused to take? Yeah, I just... the world's a scary place sometimes, Licks. People won't look at any type of reason. They don't want anything to do with any type of solid science. It's just, somebody, I read that on Facebook. Got to be true. Let's see. Eastern philosophers versus Western philosophers flashback. Winston says, I was joking, Jack says. Cody says, if we ever had to recommend them. Oh, okay. Swine flu. Sharpstone says, yeah. Well, that's what the epidemiologist said. The COVID virus is usually, when you get them to zero spread, they die. It's not like the flu where it comes back every year with different strains and all that stuff. They're usually done. So that's what we got to hope for. These vaccines, all of them, as they're getting in the late stages of testing here, have shown remarkable effectiveness. So we just got to hope that. Now you have to remember too, though. Now the I've forgotten the name of the company, but the leading one, the one that came out first with the advanced test, I forgot the name. It's gone out of my head. But anyway, you have to remember that it's a 2-shot vaccine, and the shots are, what is it, a couple weeks apart? Was it 2 or 4 weeks apart? I'd have to go back and read again. So you're not protected against it till after you've had both shots. So we still have a process to go through before we can get there. So hopefully they okay them for the emergency use and everything. We can start getting the frontline workers vaccinated and everything. And you got to remember, if these vaccines are working, every single person that gets vaccinated is one less potential carrier in the system, and that's how you start to get ahead of it. Hey, Timo, good to see you. Chrome says that sounds like Cuomo's plan, but instead of sticking them in the streets, he went for the overkill and killed 2 birds with 1 stone by putting them in old folks' homes. That was just stunning. We only had, because my wife worked in that industry, and she's still very attached to the people there. Up here in upstate, in our region, we only had 1 outbreak of any significance in a senior care facility. And we had that outbreak because Cuomo set people from New York City with COVID into our upstate facility. Thanks, Governor. Next post, Spezio says. Spezio says the thing that really scares me is the number of deaths and hospitalizations. Yes, we need to do whatever it takes to keep the numbers down. There's going to be no ER for other emergencies in certain areas. Yes, and again, nobody's contesting that, Spezio. My stance is I don't think that tightening the screws down will have that big of an impact on it. I really don't. It's a case of you've either got to get people to all start doing the right thing, or you're never going to get it under control until the vaccine's there. And what I base that on is, again, what we're seeing as this monstrous spread of this virus when people, the vast majority of people, were social distancing and wearing masks. And how did we get this to higher infection rates substantially than it was back in March with the first run through, when nobody was social distancing and nobody was wearing masks because they told us not to? So that's what makes, that's the numbers that show that the lockdowns are only having a limited effect. I do think, and again, I almost hesitate to say this because I don't want to give credence to anybody who's saying, well, this was all just made up and masks don't work and shit like that. It's not true. I'm sure it's having an effect on it all. But what it's proving is what we can do with shutdowns is going to have a limited effect on this virus when this virus decides to propagate. Wolverine going for the king spot. All right, let's see. Oh, Garrett was there and Wolverine just took it over. Yep. Coronavirus, Tron says, is the family of viruses is from. They're called coronavirus. What did I say? COVID? Yeah, coronaviruses. They're called coronaviruses because they have crown-like proteins producing coronavirus. Yeah, I meant coronaviruses, not COVIDs. Yes, thank you, Tron. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. And they've said these coronaviruses, coronavirus is part of the COVID acronym, but, Tron is right. It's coronaviruses. again, what I read, I don't remember which one, but they said there was only one coronavirus they saw that had been down to zero transmission and then made a comeback from it. So let's hope that we get this one down to zero transmission and it's gone. Oh boy. Willie says, unfortunately, I live with someone who doesn't believe the virus exists. She wears masks, but she still thinks it's a hoax. Why? I just don't. How could you, people possibly believe that? I guess nobody will be able to explain it to any of us cogently. Let's see. Milak says, I met those. I read that on Facebook people before. In a bar in a small town, they were arguing about the government secretly drilling to the Earth's core and harnessing its heat as an energy source. Did they discover mole people on the way too, Milak? It's amazing the stuff, isn't it, that they come up with? God. Okay. Thanks for being in, and thanks for the details. No, but you were right, Tron. He says, I wasn't correcting you, I was correcting someone else, but you were right. I kept saying COVID, which, of course, that's part of the acronym, but it's actually coronaviruses have been around for some time. No, you were correcting someone else, but you were right in correcting me as a drive-by. Dalwar says, the king is dead, long as the king. I've forgotten how much. I think Dalwar's right. I think that'll take you out, Wolverine. I don't remember. I don't remember the points, how they do it. Yeah, you're right, Dalwar, right? Because isn't it $20 like 600 points or something like that? I forgot. We had that all figured out. Yeah. Dalwar knew. Yeah, he did the math. The king is dead. Long live the king. As to class says, they come around once they've been in a ventilator for a week or two with fudged up lungs, then you get the, oh, I was wrong, don't be like me. Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. This, and the thing of it is, okay, even if you have, which there's some credence to that, even if you have an issue with wearing a mask, saying, well, it's like putting a petri dish on your face, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that may be true. But if you have the top people in the world, which we do, top epidemiologists saying, no, the mask will help. No, nobody with any real knowledge or nobody of any real repute is telling you that just wearing a mask is going to stop the virus. They're telling you that wearing a mask will help to slow its spread. Even if you don't believe them, why not do it just in case they're right? I don't know why you wouldn't believe them, but what's the harm? You have to be uncomfortable in a mask for a little bit? So what? That's what I don't get. Even if you don't believe it, for whatever reason, hey, give it a shot. What the hell? I don't get the logic. Johnny says they come up with good straight to VHS movie plots. Yeah, pretty much. Terrible horror stories and stuff. Yeah. Oh, excuse me, guys. Aaron says, here in Australia, the state of Victoria had 4 months of strict lockdown, and they were getting hundreds of cases a day. Lockdown is over, and now they've gone 25 days with 0 new cases and 0 active cases. Excuse me. And that's entirely possible, Aaron. But because you had the lockdown, you have no way of knowing if the lockdown did that, if that was the virus running its course. I'm not saying that taking precautions won't help the virus get beat down. But what's more likely to keep it beat down is the same reason that where I live, even though we're in New York, which has been blasted with the virus twice, we have very limited spread, is because we don't live close to each other. That seems to be the one factor that definitely plays into every scenario, is where people have to live close to one another is where it really spreads. It's not hard to figure out why, but we don't get big spread here because we're very rural and we're very spread out. So unless you know all the details of like what you're pointing out here in Victoria, it doesn't necessarily mean because you had that strict lockdown, that's what got you to 0. As opposed to, now, I'm not saying doing nothing. Obviously, doing nothing is not an option. But because you went to strict lockdown, you don't know that just doing social distancing, wearing masks, maybe the people of Victoria are just smarter, and they would all, almost at 100%, get on board with doing it, and you might have achieved the same thing. That's my point. It doesn't seem that going to the extremes with a lockdown has that much of a significant effect over just doing the right things as we come to know how the virus propagates. Special says, yeah, that's the ideal scenario. Like, I don't go anywhere unless I really have to. And you can call me Sajil. I just added Special my loyalty. No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Sajil. Yeah, and I think that's the bottom line, Sajil. I don't, again, maybe going to a harsh lockdown might have a bit of an effect on the overall numbers. I don't think it's going to be huge because, again, we know how it propagates now. It's just a matter of getting everybody to do the right things. We've got so much more knowledge about how this virus spreads than we did back in March. So if everybody, why do you wear your mask? Because that way, if you expel some droplets, if you sneeze, if you cough, whatever, it's caught at least partially, sometimes wholly, by the mask, and you're not spewing them out there for somebody else to walk through them and then contract the disease. We know that outdoors, the virus doesn't stay active nearly as long. It dies off much quicker. We know indoors and air conditioning is better suited for its to stay viable. So that just all these, if you know these things, okay, you even act differently inside than you would outside. It's like, all right, now this is, I know where, I could be walking through, somebody could have coughed here maybe a minute ago, and I'm still going to get these goddamn droplets in my eyes and my nose, whatever, as I walk by, whereas outside that's probably not going to happen. You're aware of it. You think of these things. If you see somebody that refuses to wear a mask, isn't wearing a mask, whatever, get out of their path. For whatever reason, get away from them. Don't follow through that same path that you just saw them take. There's all these little things you can do to try and avoid the virus. It's not a guarantee you will, but these are the things that if we do it, and we keep the people, most importantly, we keep the people who are most at risk, they're the ones that should be just locked down, kept away, do everything you can to support them, to keep them out of the loop. That, I think, is the most effective means. I don't think just going to full-on lockdown, which is going to have also an effect on a lot of people. I don't think it's a coincidence that suicides are up as dramatically as they are, and domestic violence is up so insanely much as it is. It's because people are having difficulty dealing.
Oh,
Brother, he says, imagine you getting dumped by a group of Saiyans and you hear one of them call dibs on eating your leg. Yeah. Brother, I like him. Franklin Cook says, all of our hospitals here are near capacity. They're currently talking about closing certain floors and putting patients in the hallway. Where are you, Franklin? Yeah, I see that's the case in a number of places. I mean, the cases are just spiking everywhere. And that's what's really frustrating about it is so many people were, so many areas we were doing the right things. Certainly more than we were in March. People were social distancing. People were wearing masks. To get a spike that's bigger than the initial one is just stunning. It's scary. Excuse me. But yes, and we have that case, if I know of someone, if you got someone in your family that is in that high risk category, I would just be like, you ain't going nowhere. We'll do whatever we have to as a family to just keep you hidden away. Well, that's the teeter-totter. I agree, Tron. Taking preventative measures is fine. These lockdowns are overdoing and causing more harm than the virus itself. Right. I think intelligently battling the virus while allowing as much of your way of life to remain is pinnacle, is extremely important. Keeping restaurants open, but with the social distancing in the restaurant, keeping businesses alive with the social distancing, with the masks, with everything. We know how it spreads. There's not a mystery anymore about how this virus spreads. So if you know how it spreads and you do all the things that you can to try and prevent it from spreading further, that's the best we can do. That's the very best we can do. Shutting down everything to where people are going broke, to where people don't know how they're going to get their lives back. You can easily cross over especially in a disease that except to the specific groups of people that are most affected by it, outside of them, it's not that much worse than the flu. And it's again, you gotta weigh the scales. Chrome says, on the bright side, all these lockdowns have given me time to read and play games. I'm like 14 volumes into Love is War and 8 into Sleepy Princess and the Demon's Castle. Hey, any silver lining we can get anywhere, Chrome. J Money says, that's why we need to do a mini lockdown. Lockdown it again, crush the curve. This narrative in March was stupid to think that we could do that once we knew this was coming. I'm having trouble following that. But what I'm saying, J Money, is, again, I don't think that your lockdown is going to accomplish what you think it's going to accomplish. I don't think you're going to go. You already have a significant number of people wearing masks, social distancing, doing the right things. Just tightening the screws on that, I don't think you're going to see a numbers change that is significant in any manner unless the virus goes through another lull, which it did prior. Because it started, you can talk about flattening the curve, all that stuff, but if you'll look at places that did have measures in place with mass social distancing and places that didn't, you have the same type of curves. This I didn't even believe when they were talking early on, the epidemiologists would say how coronaviruses are just amazing in that they can propagate through anything. They basically do their own thing and you can't do anything about it except try and get a vaccine. Those epidemiologists have proven, if nothing else, to be 100% right. Downlord says, lockdown made my local ramen shop go out of business. Bummed me out, something fierce, because we're rural and it was the only one around. And it's so many people are being affected like that. And people say, well, you can't judge dollars when it's people's lives. Well, yeah, you can, because those dollars equal people's lives. And now that we do know how it propagates, if you are at risk, you shouldn't be out and about. You should be doing anything and everything you can to just stay hidden away, locked away until we get that vaccine, until we get the spread set to next to zero. But outside of that, when you know how the virus spreads, the rest of us can be out and about doing the right things and not shutting down the entire economy and not causing people to kill themselves because they don't know what else to do because their lives have been destroyed. J Money says, Fauci was saying the entire time that the wintertime was going to be bad. We just ignored it. Well, maybe not a lockdown. No, we didn't ignore it. Localized something because hospitals everywhere are having the same problem. I wouldn't say we ignored it, but if you'll read into it, J Money, this second strand has come up. If it is indeed a second wave, it's a lot of people are saying it's just a continuation of the first one. But whatever the case may be, it wasn't for the reasons they initially thought, because that was when people were thinking that it was similar to the flu, and we all know that the cold weather helps to propagate the flu. Because this is taking place nationwide and worldwide. It doesn't matter the climate. It's just this virus taking its own path. It's taking its own peaks and valleys. They were right, but most of them stumbled into the reason why they were right. It came back in winter not because of the cold, which is proven by the warm weather climates are being just as affected. It's just because the virus said, okay, here we go. We're going for another round, and there's not much you can do against it once it decides to. Chrome says, okay, Scotland went into 2 lockdowns already. Our numbers are massive. Some places in England have had like 3 lockdowns, and they're talking about another lockdown in January. It's not working. And the numbers are all over, Chrome, for that. Look at California. California in the States was one of the states that never eased up. They put restrictions in and kept putting more restrictions in. They're exploding. This virus is magically destructive. Jonathan says, lockdown almost put my local donation center that I get my supplies from. For a week they shut down. Yeah, this is what I mean. You have to do that. You have to balance the effect with the method you're using to try and counteract the virus. Again, particularly if you make sure that the people who we know are at risk, and we know this now, take them out of the equation. Don't be out and about. Whatever you got to do, keep them away. If you keep everybody else out and doing the right things, I still say that is a much better means than locking everything down and having this adverse effect on so many people. Winston says, I watched Karate Kid yesterday. Tries crane kick and breaks leg. Ah, yeah. back in the 80s when that came out, I'm sure that happened on a number of occasions. Okay, guys, I gotta go. Well, actually, just like we're talking about, we try and be as responsible as we can. So we've got to get I only go to the store. I used to shop like every week. Now we try and do it every 2 to 3 weeks just to get everything in we need. And today's the day I got to go, especially with Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday. So I got to go make my shopping run. What am I going to do? I'm going to wear my mask. I'm going to sanitize my hands before I go in. I'm going to sanitize my hands right when I get back in the car. If I see anybody walking around without a mask for any reason or taking their mask down or whatever, I'm going to avoid that person like the plague. And that's the best we can do, I think, against it. But I do have to go get that shopping done. Thank you guys for the stream. This has been, as always, I enjoy the stream so much. Thank you guys for the advice on the whole thing with Finland. And I'll be, if I can ever get closer to actually taking that trip, I'll be coming back to you guys for more on that. Thanks for the conversation about the vaccines, about COVID. Hopefully we're in the home stretch of that. But here, today's sticky stuff. It's Monday sticky stuff. Like, well, fucking Monday. So it is. The sticky stuff itself is like a little bit. It's a little bit meh. It's like it's not super enthusiastic sticky stuff. But you know what? If nothing else, this is the sticky stuff that you don't keep as mementos. You don't put it on your sticky stuff Hall of Fame that you have the little vials of. You don't even really need the officially licensed sticky stuff fanny packs for this one. This sticky stuff I'm going to distribute to you, and I just want you guys to slap the shit out of it. Get some of your aggressions out. It's tough times for all of us. Take this sticky stuff and just beat it like the bitch that it is. That's how it's going to be therapeutic for you. Just kick the shit out of it. Here you go. Pampu, pampu. Sticky stuff for you. Sticky stuff for you. Sticky stuff for you. Sticky stuff. Slap the dog shit out of it. Just knock this shit around. Sticky stuff for you. It's. I'm telling you. It's therapeutic. It's going to make you feel better. Sticky stuff for you, because we'll bang, okay? Flashlight like Buggy. And as always, most importantly, and we never kick the shit out of this. Goosh, 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 goosh. Goosh.